Hello, this is Robert from DSP Plug. How many companies in the United States and Canada could go entirely bankrupt? And how is it avoidable? Hello, this is Robert Ellis from DSP Plug. In my youth, some of my immediate family, uncles, grandfathers, worked with business. My descendants had worked in Europe and the United States and Canada, some few. And what I had come to the realization is that flexible time shifts, what a flexible time shift might be, pardon my naivete in the way of terminology, but nonetheless, a flexible time shift would be for a company that is making products on a per contract basis. In other words, while there are contracts to make a product, there are shifts available. But what of inflexibility? What of days where there is no work available? How many companies are going to fall? How many companies are going to be without money, especially for their employees who don't have dependents, employees who don't necessarily pay much rent and are pretty smart with their bills? A smart boss these days, dependent on whom he might be working with, feels quite comfortable providing flexible hours. And it's a real shame that many of the employees that they hire wouldn't necessarily be willing to take a flexible time shift. But in my opinion, to be relying on an inflexible time shift system means that employees are going to be having a situation with both involuntary and voluntary layoffs. All of these things are entirely avoidable with a flexible time shift. And that is in regards to the employee. But what about the employer? How many companies in the United States and Canada are going to go entirely bankrupt because the thousands of employees that they have are not technically allowed or able to take a day off without vacation pay? How many companies don't have a model or a contract to provide half days? In my opinion, this is an ill-wrought scheme. This ill-wrought scheme might very well be the thing that could technically bring 25% of the businesses in Canada and the United States entirely down. If the United States and Canada were to capitalize on flexible time shifts with time available, contract work available, then that would mean that there was no wasted money, that there was no time where employees would sit idly by doing nothing when the work was not necessarily available. How much waste can Canada afford? In the state of this economy as it stands, with so many companies falling across the board in the United States and Canada, I find it quite appalling that real businessmen and women are not considering a flexible time shift model. This is Robert from DSP Plug. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.